Hello, greetings, and welcome to Dividend Blasters. This is our 87th video. Topic today, quantum computing. Gain investment exposure to the next transformative technology. I'm going to talk a little bit about quantum computing, what it is, how it differs from traditional computing, and I'm going to talk about this ETF that gives you entree and exposure to quantum computing. Ticker symbol QTUM, the Defiance Quantum ETF. Let's get into it. First, a disclaimer, I am not your financial advisor. So this is not financial advice. This video is for information and education. It reflects my own personal opinions, research, and experience as an independent investor for more than 30 years. So do your own research, your own due diligence, and consult an advisor prior to making any major financial investment decisions. So QTUM, the Defiance Quantum ETF, it's co-managed by Pensera Capital Management and Defiance ETFs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what quantum computing is, how it compares to classical computing, how it's superior to what we have now. This could be truly revolutionary and transformative to lots of disciplines and lots of industries. And there's really positive outcomes that can come from for investors who get in and invest in the right companies. Going to talk a little bit about the synergy with AI and a little bit more about this ETF QTUM. So first, what is it? Well, I went to the QTUM website, the Defiance website. Quantum computing and machine learning are transformative technologies. They're reshaping the future. A quantum computer leverages quantum mechanics to perform calculations far beyond classical computers. So, unlike traditional bits, which run on today's computers, qubits or quantum bits can exist in multiple states simultaneously through superposition and entanglement, enabling unparalleled computational power. So the computational power, that's the tangible benefit. It's going to be able to compute quicker, faster, and more likely cheaper. So that is huge. This ETF tracks the Blue Star Machine Learning and Quantum Computing Index. It tracks liquid companies in the global computing and machine learning industries. And I'm going to talk about these. I'm going to identify these for you. But here's an important point that I want to emphasize. If you want to get exposure to the quantum computing industry and you don't know where to start, because it's a new, basically, it's a new industry. Um, the way to do it is through this ETF. I have not found any other ETFs out there that get you exposure specifically concentrated on quantum computing. This one does. And the nice thing about this, like lots of decent sector type or special type ETFs, are you get exposure, but you get some time to review and research the holdings. And you find something that you feel is transformative within those holdings, you go ahead and you can scale up on that specific or particular stock. So that's why I like this. So let's keep going. First, a brief history on quantum computing. David Deutsch, born 18 May 1953, is a British physicist at the University of Oxford. He is described often as the father of quantum computing. He pioneered quantum computation. He formulated a description for a quantum Turing machine, as well as specifying an algorithm designed to run on a quantum computer. I read about this guy. He's fascinating. He is still very much around and alive, and you can read all about him on the web. Great background on Wikipedia, but also a lot of articles about quantum computing. He is by far the one who is mentioned the most. I already touched on this, but let's say it again. Quantum computing uses the laws of quantum mechanics, superposition, and entanglement to process information in ways that are impossible for today's classical computers. It relies on quantum bits or qubits, which can be both 0 and 1 at the same time, allowing quantum computers to solve certain complex problems much faster than today's computers. Whereas today's computers rely more often than not um, on bits, and it's more sequential and it's binary. These are not binary and they can run in parallel. The technology is still developing, but it has the potential to revolutionize many disciplines and fields like cryptography, optimization, scientific simulation. Also, and it's not here, but finance, which we love, pharmaceuticals and drug discoveries. It's just amazing, and it's really very exciting. And here's just a simple table side by side that shows the two. I've already touched on the key differences, but you can go back and look at the differences between classical and quantum computing at your leisure. So, the benefits basically, and I touched on this in differentiating between classical and quantum. Quantum computers use qubits. They can perform more calculations faster, more complex calculations, um, and better really at optimization of certain tasks, such as in logistics, scheduling, and financial modeling. Wow, wouldn't that be nice? And I would say that the major takeaway from this slide, if you don't take away anything other than faster calculations, it's the last one: energy efficiency. Quantum computers can solve specific problems using significantly less energy than classical supercomputers, leading to cost savings and reduced environmental impact. This to me is so big because when we talk about artificial intelligence a lot, we're talking about the need for data centers that can basically run on, new chips like the NVIDIA chips, the GPUs, and that these data centers are going to need more energy, and there's going to be more data centers. And there's concern about how are we going to run all these data centers. We right now we don't think we have enough energy. Well, you know what? Energy efficiency is so important. Any way we can go ahead and become more effective and more efficient around energy usage is a win-win for everybody. So I talked a little bit about the synergy with AI. Okay, well, this is a transformative technology. It's going to revolutionize many industries, material science. Already mentioned drug discovery and pharmaceuticals, finance, cybersecurity. Wow, that's exciting. Um, Also, we talked a little bit about enhanced data processing, faster data cleansing, complex calculations. It's going to be able to solve problems um, quickly, maybe in minutes, that today's computers may take years to solve. So just think about that. I mean, it's exponential. All right. Bring this article to your attention. I thought that this was very informative, and it's by the Cloud Security Alliance. And the article is Quantum Artificial Intelligence Exploring the Relationship Between AI and Quantum Computing. I found this to be very informative. Link is below. Check it out. So let's talk a little bit about this ETF. The Defiance Quantum ETF, or QTUM. As I mentioned, it's co-managed by Pensera Capital Management and Defiance ETFs, formed back in September of 2018, headquartered in the US. I already mentioned that it tracks the total return of Blue Star Computing, Quantum Computing, and Machine Learning Index. This is a passive management fund. So there's no covered calls, there's no option selling. They are just solely tracking the performance of the holdings in the index. We'll dive a little deeper here. QTUM closed yesterday, Friday, June 13th at 87.57. You can see we're at are near the top of the 52-week range. The expense ratio for this ETF is 40 basis points. It's very reasonable, especially for a new field, new holdings, and it's not a big ETF. I mean, it's getting there. It's almost $1.5 billion, but 40 basis points is very reasonable. So basically, every $10,000 you invest in this ETF, you pay $40 a year. What I was pleasantly surprised by is that they pay a dividend, a quarterly dividend, not something I expect. Uh, it's so technologically focused and it's so new. It's a new discipline, um, but it's a 0.63% yield. So it's a modest yield, but it is a dividend, dollarized. Um, Over the last 12 months, it's about 55 cents annually. Uh, Assets under management, it's almost a billion and a half, or $1.42 billion. So the year-to-date price return, it's doing much better than the S&P 500, a little under 8%, whereas the S&P 500 is about 1.62%. And why is that? They're getting more investors in the ETF. Investors are excited and they're enthused by this, and they want to get in early. Total return, it's still more. You'll see that the total return is not much different than the price return because of that modest dividend yield. So it's a little over 8%, 8.12%. The S&P 500, 1.62%. Okay, so then the 1 year price return is higher because obviously uh, the past few months in this year, we've had some dips in the market, if you will. There's been some volatility, but over the last 12 months, 37.5%, 57% price return. For QTUM, S&P 500, 10%. Total return, a little bit more, about 38.23% versus the S&P 500, 10%. So almost four times that larger market. A little bit on the dividends. I already mentioned it's a modest dividend, but it is a dividend. So for you dividend investors that want this exposure, you should take a close look at this. 0.63%. Dollarized, I already mentioned, 55 cents. They have grown their dividend the past year. So they're telling us the 5 year growth rate, and typically, even if it's only 1 year, they'll put it in for what it was the last year, 26.28%. I do know that they have paid a dividend the last 6 years, but it's been up and down. Uh, and you know what? That does not bother me in the least bit. I want these guys researching and developing on innovative technologies and processes and getting me great return for this. So I'm not buying this for the dividend. The dividend is just frosting on the cake. But a little bit more about the dividend. I already mentioned that the 5 year dividend CAGR, 26.28%. The current growth rate is 1 year, but they've been paying dividends for 6 consecutive years. And here's just a history of the yield. It's always been below 1%, except in 2023, it's 1.1. So, you can see the min yield, the max yield, and the average yield. And it's always usually below 1%. Sometimes it goes above, but not often. And you can see the actual growth history of the dividend, dollarized, and the yield. All right. So, we talked about this great price return and also the funding inflows, and they have been substantial. And why? Because there's just growing investor enthusiasm for quantum computing and really the impact in other disciplines and industries. Uh, and I would say, if I were to say it was a spillover, I would say that's understating it. There's going to be a direct impact, if you will. Um, and the companies that are working here and this ETF specifically are very sensitive to developments, press releases, and announcements. And just back in December, uh, QTUM attracted about $250 million just in 1 month in new investment inflows due to a press release from Google where they unveiled their new chip, the advanced Willow quantum chip. So whenever you see a press release about quantum uh, technologies, there's going to be an impact here. Uh, on this ETF. December of 2024 was a big month. They had never received that much investment in 1 month. So that was huge. So this rapid growth in assets under management reflects market confidence in this sector, the quantum computing sector. As of now, almost $1.5 billion assets under management, exactly 1.42 billion. Getting above a billion is a milestone. Uh, Now they're almost at $1.5 billion, so that's quite impressive. Um, and it's because of the innovation of the companies they invest in. And like I said, there's going to be impact with multiple disciplines and industries like AI, finance, logistics, uh, drug discovery, pharmaceuticals, many of them. Holdings by sector, overwhelmingly the technology sector, almost more than three quarters, about 77%, followed by a distant second of industrials, a little over 12%, and communications, 7.5%. So, looking at the companies that they invest in, D-Wave Quantum, and I'm put the ticker symbol here. You can look them up and research them to get some more of that insight into some of the companies and what they're doing in the industry. So D-Wave Quantum, I actually own shares of that. Palantir, we all know Palantir, uh, big data analytics company. They've been on a tear. Lots of contracts with the Department of Defense. Rigetti Computing, it's actually an important player in this industry. Um, NEC Corporation, Orange, NTT Data Group, um, KLA Corporation, Alibaba Group Holding, it's a Chinese company. Fujitsu, the Japanese chip company. Uh, IonQ, this is another company, very focused solely on quantum computing. You should check these out when you get a chance if you're interested. And here's just a little bit of background on each of these, just little info nuggets and snippets. You can read these at your leisure, and I hope you found this to be useful and enjoyable. I will tell you that I am invested in QBTS, Palantir, and a couple others that aren't listed here. And that's for another video. So, folks, I hope you found this to be enjoyable and informative. I want to remind you that I am an affiliate of Seeking Alpha. So, if you want to get a subscription to the premier digital investment publication, you can subscribe and I can provide to you discounts through these affiliate links. For premium, you will get a discount of 20%, but you also get 7-day free trial. Alpha Picks, where you get 2 free picks every month. The Quantum team will provide these picks to you, send them directly to your email on the best investments they see. And then bundle, you can get a little of both. That's 20% off. And you can see the dollar amounts there at your leisure. Check them out. And the QR codes are there as well. I am also on multiple platforms. So I'm also on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And here you can read a little bit about what premium and Alpha Picks will provide to you. I will tell you that I'm a longtime subscriber of Seeking Alpha for many years and have recently, over the last year, become an affiliate. And I couldn't be happier. Folks, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until our next video, have a wonderful day. God bless.